There's a video actually that's floating around, or a news article, I would say, that's floating around social media regarding former Mayor Rudy Giuliani. He was talking about the fact that black parents need to teach their children how to respect police officers. And the thing about it is that I don't think that that's actually going to sit well with a lot of people. A lot of people is actually going to take offense to that, and rightfully so, because again, that pretty much says that for the most part that all black folks are unruly and we don't like to listen or be a part of rule and order. This is going to be one of those videos again where I actually sit down and talk a little bit about wisdom, because one thing about it, as you know, those who listen to my video already know that when I talk, I like to actually talk with a purpose and don't just like to come off as just saying something just for the sake of actually wanting to be, just to have something to talk about, but actually speak about something and actually have a purpose for the words that I'm saying. Again, when I woke up, and I go through there, and for the most part, this is actually a form of, I would say, I don't know. It's a form of, actually, I would say, hate. Well, I wouldn't say hatred, but a form of discrimination, because again, it takes into the fact that we are saying that black children, or that black parents, are not raising their children well. And the thing about it is that, we are already living in a society where we already know that, as you know, in the midst of everything going on with the police shootings and everything else, that they're saying that Black Lives Matter, or that's what's being chanted around, in social circles and malls and community centers or whatever. We already know for the most part that that particular action does not really mean much, because again, the more times you get out there and march, there's another police officer right across in the next town over or whatever that's saying, you know what, that's complete BS. If I come across a black person, I'm going to shoot him and kill him. That's pretty much my stance on that. But the issue is that it's really an attack on black families for the most part when this mayor actually said this. For somebody who actually, and for folks who are educated, sometimes the most educated people say some of the dumbest things. And the sad part about it is that, it usually comes from well, in this case here, it's not, I don't know, it depends on how you look at it, but it's just the fact about it that when you actually analyze and take the time to really look at what's being said, you can actually be able to see the revelations or the conditions of the heart. The Bible tells us out of the heart, or out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, which means that anything that you actually have hidden in your heart is going to eventually come out of your mouth. And for the most part, you got a lot of people that hold high places in society that really does not have any respect for African Americans. And basically, we should be used to this by now, because all our lives, ever since we've been able to be in existence, we've already been used, we've been raped, we've been have all of these terrible things done to us. And even though we're actually living, we lived through the civil rights era where laws were being passed, and the abolishment of slavery and everything like that, we're still living in an area where white folks still want to keep black folks bound, whether it be through education, whether it be through the attack of how we rear our children, whether it be, employment opportunities. All of these type of things are actually really things that are still being used to play and actually be used against us. And the sad part about it, again, is that we are being reminded of that every day based on the senseless actions and the thoughtless sayings of people who actually should know better. Now, when you're talking about, black folks or parents need to teach their black children, first of all, that's taken into account. You don't know what goes on in a typical black household. And the sad part about it is that you got a lot of ignorant white folks that actually hold these high positions that actually say some of the most asinine things, thinking that they're actually making a point, when all they're doing is just actually furthering, keeping that fire that's already been created, and that divide, you're making it much more wider. Because again, we're already living amongst racial tension right now at the hands of white folks, And the thing about it, again, is that when you sit up there and make statements like that, saying that black folks need to teach their black children how to, obey police, he needs to really think about what he's saying, because if he was very smart, which he's not very, he would actually say that parents need to teach their children, regardless of what race they are, what color, what creed, they need to teach their children to obey the people that are actually in the positions of, carrying out the law. Or, they need to teach their children on how to obey those, that are in the capacity of carrying the law. Those who are out there protecting and serving us, we need to learn how to obey their commands. Something along that line. But this idiot is going to sit up there and say this, that, and the thing about it is that he did not actually really say, he did not actually just say all, he just actually made a distinction and said black. So that lets me know right there that even though we are supposedly still in an era where racism, is a thing of the past, where we need to get over racism, as they say, get over the issue, all these type of things that white folks typically like to tell black folks. How in the world am I supposed to get over that when you actually have someone up there that is supposed to be, a leader? How in the world is a typical black person supposed to actually combat that? Now, I know we have our own way of thinking, we have our own, we are not really supposed to allow anyone to push our emotional buttons. And like I say, I believe in that wholeheartedly. You never allow anyone to get the best of you. But the issue is that sometimes you really have to sometimes step out of that and really delve into what's really going on in the heads of white folks. And the thing about it, again, is that I'm leaving other races and other ethnicities out of this because they are not the ones that's actually saying these things. It's mostly white folks that are actually saying these, issues. And the thing about it is that they're saying, and so to the point where they're actually wanting to affect the self-esteems of black folks. We already know that we are the last hired, the first fired in any situation. Anytime we're actually wanting to climb up that ladder of success, there's always going to be someone that say, you know what, this is as high as you can go. You can't go further. And I refuse to believe that. And the thing about it, again, is that you got some weak black folks that actually will accept anything and everything that white folks say, and they will begin to live by that. I'm not that way. I'm not going to teach anybody that I care about that way. I will teach them and let them know that you don't let anybody talk down to you, especially when you know that you are capable of doing that and a whole lot more stuff. You don't let nobody take away your choices. You don't let nobody take away your tongue. You don't do any of that type of stuff. Like I say, you listen to what folks got to say, and if you have something intelligent to say back, think about it first, recraft it, and then give it to them. But the thing about it is that folks like to use black folks as doormats. And some black folks are comfortable with it being used as doormats. That's just the way that they are. They figure that, I'll go with the flow. And the issue is that I'm not that type of way. If I see something that I need to fight against and challenge the system, my golly, I'm going to do that. Because I will let them know that, hey, I am not the typical black person who you think that is scared of white folks. I'm not. But it's just a shame that we live in a society that actually, is afraid to go against the grain. The issue is that you got a lot of black folks that will sit there and they'll, wholeheartedly agree. And the thing about it is that, in a sense, I agree to what Mr. Giuliani is saying to a point, but he got to understand that there's more than black folks. There are other folks out there other than black that will run away and give police a hard time too. It's not just black folks. The only reason he's saying that is because in the light of what's going on in news media, the fact of police shooting black folks. And the issue is that, there's not many of us left, but the issue is that he's making it seem like this is the only problem that this is the issue that all cops face, period, is unruly black folks. And the thing about it is that all this is doing is painting us, putting us all the way back to the civil rights era, where they had to turn the hose on black folks when they were marching. You had to have their police dogs out there to bite and maim and tear off any type of part of a black person just because they were out there marching and standing up for their rights. It's like we're going back. It's like history is repeating itself. And the Bible tells us, there's nothing new under the sun. So these are the type of things that we should expect. But it's just kind of amazing and kind of fascinating to actually see someone who I would think would know better say something like that. I guess let me take that back. I'm not too surprised about it because it's like God tells us not to put our trust in man. He will deceive us every chance he gets. But it's just the fact about it is that when you actually seeing it played out live and right in front of your face, it takes on a whole new meaning. People really have a way, I would say, of surprising you. And some of the things that they actually say, you would never think that they would actually say it. And then you turn around and think about it. You know what? Okay, you know what? I shouldn't be too surprised. I should have saw something like that actually coming from them. Because again, you're living in a land of white privilege. And see, that's another thing that really is at play here. A mix of shootings and everything like this. You have white privilege. It's like it's like its presence is so wide felt in here that you can almost just taste it almost. And the reason why I say that is because And a lot of people say, you know what, there's no need in talking about white privilege. Yes, there is a need, because we are living in it right now, and black folks are victims of it. We've always been a victim of white privilege. You know, a lot of people may ask, well, what does white privilege have to do with it? Well, I will tell you. White privilege affords the opportunity for whites to get away with things that other races won't get away with, i.e. shooting folks when there is really no justifiable reason to do so, even though you are licensed to carry a firearm. You know, the main thing about it is that if a black person shoots somebody white or whatever the case may be, it may be justifiable. The courts, and especially in public opinion, they're not going to see it that way. They look at the fact that, you know, it was unjustifiable. There was other ways that the situation could be handled. Well, why can't you hold the same white police officers to that same standard, instead of sitting up there and pointing out that, you know, when white police officers approach a black person, their lives have to automatically be in danger. And the thing about it is that they will use that particular situation as the premise to get out of a whole bunch of stuff. Black folks' lives are being taken every day. Yeah, you know, it's at the hands of ourselves, things that we can't control, and that's unfortunate. But the issue is that in the grand scheme of things, too, our lives are also being sucked away, and loved ones are being taken away from us over overzealous cops who really should not even have a firearm. It's crazy and it's ridiculous that you have officers that figure that, you know what, I can get somebody to obey me. All I have to do is just pull out a gun. And see, the thing about it again is that with black folks, we're getting to the point where those type of things don't scare us anymore, because we're looking at the fact about it. Okay, look, you don't care about us. You trying to kill me, so guess what? I got to get to you before you get to me. That's the way the black folks are seeing it. That's the justification as to the reason why we had that Dallas tragedy where, you know, those five, I think, white police officers were killed because of the fact that a black man actually says, you know what, I'm getting tired of white folks killing us. I'm not saying that what he did was justifiable. I'm just only giving you the thought process of what I think was going through his head. Even though he's not here today, unfortunately, to explain his side, more than likely it's the fact about it. And he said right there, you know, that he wants to kill, you know, white people, especially white cops. And it's unfortunate, but like I say, how often are you going to sit there and allow something to happen to your people, your culture, and you don't do anything about it? Black folks, Black America is under attack. People may look at this video and say, you know what, that's funny, he doesn't know what he's talking about. You can sit there and say whatever you want to, buddy. This is my channel. I say whatever I want. And I can use my YouTube platform, my amendment, my freedom of speech, even though in some cases, you know, it you know, gets you in trouble. But I'm using it. I haven't got stepping over anybody's lines or crossed any tables or whatever, or defended anybody's civil liberties by saying what I'm having to say. Because I'm not saying anything any different than anybody else. I'm just speaking with clarity and with wisdom. That's my only difference. But the issue is that, you know, black folks, Black America is under attack. White folks don't want to hear that. They don't want us to acknowledge that. They want to keep us in the dark. They want to keep us in the dark for as long as they possibly can, until all of us are gone. Like I said, when I say white folks, I can't be talking about all white folks. I'm going to give you that clarification too. But the issue is that I'm not a dummy. The racial climate, the way everything is going now, is hostile towards blacks. And the thing about it, again, is that it's affecting every part of our lifestyles, from, again, what goes on in our houses, how we're rearing our children, employment, all of these type of things. And those, it's affected by the fact that people already assume that we are the worst human beings that God has allowed to grace this planet. And the thing about it, again, is that there's nothing that we can do per se but continue to be black and defend ourselves if need be. And that's pretty much what we've been doing. And the fact about it is that, you know, it's respect and hostility has grown so much for law enforcement that the typical black person, they will actually take a chance by actually wanting to take the cop out, you know, just for the sake of actually, you know, just for the fact that I'm tired of it. I'm tired of being harassed. Okay, you're pulling me over. You haven't given me a justifiable reason. You're just only going by what some sort of profile says, and you automatically assume that every black person has to fit that profile. Every black man has to fit that profile. You pull us over for stupid stuff, the type of car we drive. You want to sit up there and pull us over for the type of, you know, we may be in a neighborhood that you feel that we don't belong in, you know, and it's all over just dumb stuff. Personal biases. But black folks are saying no more. I'm tired of it. If that means I got to be taken out by trying to take you out, then so be it. Because we're tired of being harassed. Like I said, we're living in a very crucial point now, especially in African American history. There's not many of us left. And like I said, it's all about trying to really get back on track with unity. The thing about it is that we've already tried to get folks to understand us. They don't. They want to put us like in a cage because they already say that we're animals. And they don't want to actually get to interact, don't even want to begin to bridge that gap of hostility and begin to come together where we can actually get along as one individual or get along as, a group in a civil setting. It's not there anymore. Because number one person feels and views another race as being inferior, and then they feel that they themselves are superior. So basically, again, we're running that cycle all over again. And like I say, I'll say this. It wouldn't surprise me if something like this happened again, where there may be a mass takeout where someone black may be trying to kill a whole bunch of white people. Because the thing about it again is that, you can only do some things for so long, and folks are going to get tired. Again, I'm not justifying what this individual did, but you got to understand the thought process that goes behind it. You are killing off black folks. Every chance you get, we turn around, somebody died. What happened? White officer pulled over, shot a black person. And it sometimes, and the sad part about it too, is that it's not always where the black person is actually being combatant. You have some that actually are cooperating. You just have an overzealous cop that just probably got on the force, don't even know anything, and haven't been properly trained in his job for quite so long. The only thing they trained them on what to do is that if you feel that you're scared, take out your gun and shoot. These type of people are a danger more to society than they are of a help. And those people should not even be licensed to carry a gun. They should not even have a job having to do anything with carrying a firearm. All right, but I can go on and on with this. Like I say, you know what? It's a beautiful day out. I don't want to waste my time discussing issues like this, but I felt the need that I had to get this video out because, again, something had to be said about it. All right, peace out, folks.